Okay, I just have to share this with you right now. Because if you've ever felt out of place or like you must be broken or everybody else is just wired differently than you are, this is going to change your life. You're not quite introvert, you're not quite extrovert, and before we're done today, I'll show you why understanding that you are actually an introvert is going to change the way that you see your work, your relationships, because by the end of this episode, I'm going to introduce you to yourself for the very first time. And I'm going to give you a visual scale that you can use to finally understand the truth about yourself. And I literally just created this week. So let's go. This is the show about introverts. Have you ever felt like the world's just trying to smash you into a box that you just don't fit into? I felt that too, until I discovered this secret, and it changed my life. Seriously, it changed my life overnight. So here's the naked truth. If you're not always full on or always in solitude, you might be an introvert like me. Now, if you've ever felt mislabeled or like you just don't belong in either box that they've given you a choice of, know this, that you belong here with your Kintra. So why does introverted and extroverted feel so wrong for you? Well, psychologists call this the false dichotomy trap. It's when we're forced to make a choice, either A or B, and it doesn't really reflect the reality of the situation we're in. You know, it's like trying to measure the ocean with a ruler that's either marked shallow or deep. Most of us actually live in that range in between the extremes. And here's the problem with introvert versus extrovert. Both of those focus on the individual serving themselves. Introverts recharge alone. Extroverts recharge by taking energy from the crowd around them. Do you see what is missing here? What about those of us who thrive on mutuality? The give and the receive of harmony and community, the crowd energy and the quiet reflection time. That was missing until now. So if you've ever wondered why self-help advice for extroverts or introverts never quite worked for you, it wasn't you. It never was. They didn't write that book for you. And here's the win for today. You can finally stop beating yourself up because you are not alone and you are perfectly normal, perfectly you. You are probably an introvert, and that's from the Spanish word meaning other. And for the first time, that space in between the extremes has a name. Now, there are pure introverts and pure extroverts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But most of us want balance, we want connection, we want times that we're surrounded by the people we love, full of light and full of energy. And there are times when we need to step away and just breathe alone and have some solitude. And I think loneliness being named as the biggest factor in whether we are happy or not explains everything, because that doesn't come from being introverted or extroverted. As an introvert, your strength is balance and connection. You can step up and lead the room, and then you can retreat into focus by yourself. And that makes you incredibly valuable in creative work, to be able to range between those two worlds. Now, even famous performers who just shine on stage crave that quiet time alone. Millions of people across history never fit into those boxes. Think about Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, Picasso, Einstein, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley. So why should you? Think about the last time that you felt truly alive creating. Was it alone at the desk or in the studio all by yourself? Or was it sharing that collaborative moment with others? And chances are, if you're an introvert like me, it was a little bit of both. That's the rhythm of being an introvert. See, here's the truth. You are dynamic. You're not just one box. You are a dynamic and evolving and changing person every day. One little box on anyone's chart will never define you for more than just a moment in time. And that's why I actually created the VERT relationship spectrum, because we need a way to measure the personality that flexes with us so we can understand ourselves better and make our lives fit us better. Think about it like a doctor's pain chart. When they say, where is your pain level today? It's not forever. They're not trying to get you to define yourself as a 6 forever. It's just describing where you are right now. So the Vert spectrum chart works like this. At the far ends, you have personality disorders. In between the two, you've got the whole range of humanity. Everything from the true introvert all the way up to the true extrovert. But most of us don't actually just stay in those all off or all on positions. We may be there at times, but we're not always in those ranges. We all want human connection. The thing they say that bothers humans most is being lonely. And yet introvert and extrovert never really talked about that. This scale lets you define where you are most comfortable. What mix of quiet and energy and community best defines you. Now, there's no wrong place to be on this scale. It's all legitimate range of human condition. It's a question of where you are most aligned, where you are most comfortable being yourself day after day. See, introverts don't sit at one fixed spot on the scale. We flex, we breathe. Filming on camera like this might push me into an 8. Editing, it could pull me back to a 3 or a 4. Coaching is a 4, 5, or 6, depending on the moment. The point isn't to trap yourself into a definition, it's to know your rhythm, and it's to know your spectrum, your comfortable range, and use that to always show up at your best and to understand both yourself and a lot of the relationships that you have around you. And my baseline falls right around 5.5, right in the middle. I want solitude sometimes, and I want the limelight other times, but mostly I want the mutuality of giving and receiving the right energy with the right people. My kintra, my fellow worthy creatives. So if you've called yourself introverted but still crave connection, welcome to the Introvert Club. And if you've called yourself extroverted, but there are times when you really just want to be alone, welcome to the Introvert Club. Even your baseline shifts across your lifetime. That's not broken, that's growth. When I was young, I was very comfortable being at a 3 or a 4. I spent a lot of time alone reading books. We moved a lot, so I was always the new kid. It was comfortable to be alone a lot of times. And today I live mostly around 5.5. And what changed for me was that I found harmony. I found mutuality. I found connection. Science says it's like your heart rate. You've got a baseline normal for you, but it's going to rise when you do activity and it's going to lower when you rest. And if you've ever suspected that you aren't just one thing all the time, well, you were right all along. So here's your micro win for today. Start noticing, where is your baseline right now? Where do you flex up to and where do you recharge down to? Where are you most comfortable on the chart? Awareness is the first step to self-mastery, because when I'm forced out of my comfort zone, it's like pulling back a rubber band. The further that you stretch away from your baseline, the harder it becomes to stay there. Being forced to hold that tension fatigues you over time. The longer you pull back, the more your muscles ache until you get to the point where you just can't do it anymore. And I bet you understand the stresses in your life a whole lot better right now, don't you? This is why understanding your baseline on the Vert spectrum chart matters so much, because if you're trying to live louder or more suppressed than what is natural for you, it's going to catch up to you. And there's always a cost to pay. Based on the Vert relationship spectrum, where is your baseline? Where are you most comfortable? Drop that in the comments. So let's put it all together really quickly. Number 1, you are not broken. You are not misplaced. You are not wired wrong. You just don't fit into box A or box B. 2, introverts like us thrive on balance, not extremes. We live in the harmony zone, both giving and receiving at the same time. Sometimes we enjoy solitude, other times we want the limelight, but most of the time we want mutuality and connection. 3, your baseline flexes like your heartbeat, and it's okay to push up into the energy zones and pull back into the quiet zones as long as you understand that you need to relax into your natural baseline so you don't get fatigued. That's not weakness, that's literally being human. In fact, when my job at the U changed, what hurt wasn't just the work I lost or the broken promises. Okay, that stung. But what really hurt was being shoved into a box that didn't fit. Being forced to be into a 2 or 3 when my natural range is around 5 or 6 felt like forcing styrofoam underwater when all it wants to do is pop back to the surface. I joked about feeling like the lonely Maytag repairman because I was cut off, not just from the part of the work that I loved, but from the part of the spectrum of who I am. Now, I'm from Texas, and we have a saying about stress being about when your mind overrides your body's basic need and desire to choke the life out of somebody who desperately deserves it. Obviously, choking people is not the answer, and it certainly isn't the introvert way. But doesn't that capture how it feels when we're shoved into boxes that don't fit us? I don't know about you, but when I see those little org chart boxes on a company chart, I see little coffins where dreams come to die. We're asked to choke down who we really are, to live on that scale where we don't belong. And that's going to fatigue and stress any of us. That is literally what breaks us down over time. It's not who we are, but being mislabeled and misaligned and not being allowed to breathe. See, the real enemy isn't you. It's that outdated label. Introvert, extrovert. Neither one of those ever truly fit, did they? See, here's the thing. The labels were wrong. Your life isn't. Most of us live in that middle range. We flex, we adapt. We need both silence and conversation, both creation and collaboration. We are the bridges, the artists, the mentors, the musicians, the teachers. We are the connective tissue of humanity, the heartbeat between inhale and exhale. And once you see yourself in that light, you stop apologizing for being too quiet or too loud, and you start realizing that you are perfectly tuned for you. Introverts are not broken or misfits. We're the bridge that the world has been missing, and that bridge might just be you. See, I believe that introverts represent the best of what humanity can be. So don't pull back from being who you really are. Now, some people say they have a freak flag. I'm going to tell you a secret. I am an admiral of an entire freak fleet, and I let my freak fleet float, and so should you. This is Worthy Creative You, and you and I are Kintra. We are introverts together, and I'm glad that you know that you belong here. And I want to know, where do you feel most at home on the vert spectrum? Are you quiet, connected, or right in that flow between the two? Because if science and I are right, that middle spot right at about 5.5 represents the very best of humanity. Whew. Hey, thanks everybody. Great show. I really appreciate it. I love doing this, and I don't mind being in front of the camera, but I'm ready for a nice quiet edit session. Time to get back to my 5.5.
In every song